Find out why I'm dancing next on Racin-n-Braisin. Well, hi folks, welcome back to Racin-n-Braisin. I am CJ. I am a lifelong NASCAR fan and a chef with 20 years experience, sure to give you plenty of news and analysis from each race weekend, as well as a couple of tips and tricks from my kitchen to yours. I do want to thank you for joining me once again on Racin-n-Braisin. Well, we have Mexico City in our rearview mirror, and there is plenty to talk about today. We'll talk about why I'm dancing. That has to do with the picks. And we'll discuss the race just real quick. It was a tale of 3 races, right? And we'll give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and then we'll finally round things off with just a quick discussion about whether we should go back to Mexico City. So let's dive right into it and talk about why I am dancing. As you guys know, I carry on a regular season competition with my mom as a friendly way for us to keep engaged in the NASCAR season. We pick a driver each week, not a driver that was picked in the previous week, and we score points based on their finishing position, and we keep a tally as things go on. If you guys caught yesterday's video, you saw that Mom had first pick. Her pick was Ross Chastain. She actually stole that away from me. That's who I really wanted to pick yesterday, but fortunate that did not work out because I ended up picking SVG. It was kind of like a last minute gut decision. I was really leaning towards like McDowell or maybe one of the Hendrick guys like Elliott. He ended up running really well, but ended up picking SVG yesterday. And boy, he put on a clinic yesterday, getting that win. From what I read this morning, it was the largest margin of victory on a road course in a cup race since Riverside, 1979. So what that did for points is added 1 to my total, bringing me now to 235, and added 16 to Mom's total, now getting her up to 206, bringing our difference now down to 29 points. So I'm again starting to sniff a little more of a striking distance. All right, guys, well, let's talk about that race real quick. I definitely felt like it was a tale of 3 races, and even felt about halfway through stage 2, I was wondering, like, how long has this race gone on? Mostly because that rain in the first part of the first stage definitely slowed everything down. Added a bunch of caution laps. It took a while for the flow to really start, coming through and the race to really start progressing. The rain produced a bunch of chaos, also mixed up the strategy quite a bit. Kyle Busch took out a couple of big contenders there when he screwed things up and went for a pretty wild ride. The damage that was sustained on Larson's car was wild. I'm surprised he even tried to drive it back to the garage, but he did. They put it back out there. They went and got the fastest lap later on in the race. Seems like a weird thing to do, but you know what? The point is out there and available, and if they felt like they had the car to do it, that's what they did. So good on them, whatever. Stage 2, we saw a drying track, right? The ringers, the road course guys, started moving their way forward. SVG went to the front. Ty Gibbs looking strong, which was expected. He had really good practice sessions. Even AJ Allmendinger started working his way forward. Ross Chastain started going forward until he got spun around. It felt like throughout the field, from first to last, there were battles all throughout the track during stage 2, even with a dry track condition. It felt like it was the most action-packed stage that we got. And then we got into stage 3. They were still talking about rain in the area, kept spitting every now and then, like there would be a report from pit road, oh, it's starting to rain here, but nothing would ever really come of it. That produced a couple of different strategy calls, which then led to a green flag pit cycle that got interrupted by a caution flag, and that ended up costing Ty Gibbs his race, but worked in the favor of SVG. And from there, lights out. Absolutely lights out. Holy cow, he put on an absolute clinic. I'm thankful that Prime didn't focus on him like we would have expected someone like Fox to have done early in the season. I'm glad Prime focused on the battles through the rest of the field. That battle from like 6th through 12th for a while there was fantastic. Back and forth a lot there, and they were catching a lot of like the action that was going on further back in the field. Hocevar and Stenhouse getting together again. I'm sure you guys saw post-race Stenhouse sticking his nose into the window of Hocevar's car. He's growing by leaps and bounds, no doubt, but he's definitely still making a bunch of mistakes. And at some point, somebody like Stenhouse is going to beat his... right, yeah. Something else I want to point out about stage 3, Ty Gibbs, unfortunate with what happened to him. He wasn't able to recover. Ross Chastain, who was running really well throughout the day, started to struggle in that final stint and fell way back. It's like he lost all handle on his car. The other note that I really want to highlight is Chase Elliott. Man, what a great job. He started 12th in that final run and worked his way all the way up to 3rd. I think it goes to show that he can do well with this car. It just takes the right type of road course for him to do well on. One where you really have to hustle the car back and forth, side to side. A lot of switchbacks, like we saw this weekend, where the cars were sliding a lot, I think plays into his favor and his style of driving on road courses. So the more tracks like this, the better suited for Chase Elliott for sure. I don't know that this car and Chase Elliott are well suited for like Watkins Glen anymore, or even Sonoma to an extent. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. Pretty good race. Let's put it on the up or down. All right, guys, so let's give Mexico City a thumbs up or thumbs down, and I think this one is pretty easy. It's a thumbs up. It was a good race. For being a road course, and quite honestly, my expectations were pretty low. Knowing the standard of the way the next-gen car runs, I think we were treated to some pretty good action all throughout the weekend. The practices were very, very interesting, especially that first practice. And the race had all sorts of elements into it. Like I said, it was a tale of 3 different races throughout, and they all had great components to them. The energy was great all weekend long. The fan vibe was really positive, although I do want to point out the attendance was not that good from a TV viewer's perspective. Listening to the teardown, it sounds like it's because they kind of priced the tickets too high for what the market could handle. They said that the base price for tickets was starting at about $60. And yeah, that's a bit too much even for us up here in the States. I know I can't swing a $60 race ticket right now because it's going to involve all of the other things that are expensive too, like my food, whatever I choose to drink for the weekend, the travel there, and if I have to stay somewhere. I'm not close to a track, so I can't necessarily just walk to one, so I have to figure in those expenses, and that's just for me. Think about a family of 4, like, what the majority of Americans are, and you're now talking $240 in tickets, plus the travel and the food and all of that stuff too. It's getting harder and harder these days to get to a race, that's for sure. So all in all, yes, Mexico City was a thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Leave an emoji of a thumbs up or a thumbs down and give me like 1 or 2 reasons as to why. I'm keeping a running tally all season long, and I'll let you guys know how that continues to play out as the season progresses. All right, guys, so it does lead us now to the question, should NASCAR go back to Mexico City? I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up. It seems like this car works really well on these F1 style tracks where it's a much smoother surface. The car did really well this year at COTA. The racing was really good at Mexico City for sure. I'm curious to kind of see how it does at Sonoma this year. A lot of people have been bashing the road course portion with this car, and that's not really working out, but I mean, that's what this car was designed to do. Now I'm starting to think that the teams are getting their technical side really tightened up, and now we're starting to see the field get much tighter on the road courses. So it's producing more action. Ultimately, does that say, should we go back to Mexico City? I don't know. Personally, if we're going to do international, I'd like to see it kind of rotate every year. Let's highlight a different international stop. Mexico City was a good start. Let's go to Montreal. I've heard a lot about that. NASCAR is real heavy on the street course in Chicago. It costs $50 million a year to make that happen. Why don't you guys tag team with IndyCar and go up to Toronto and go do the street course up there? That would be cool. Really, really tight street course. There'd be a lot of beating and banging on that one. That might be a lot of fun. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think NASCAR should be doing for its international trip. Should they continue on at Mexico City or should they rotate? I've heard Brazil floated around quite a bit here recently, but that's more clash oriented. It's definitely clear that NASCAR is not backing down from going international at all. They have the subset series. There's NASCAR Europe and NASCAR Mexico. I'm sure if they had the ability to, they would have NASCAR Indonesia or NASCAR Australia or whatever, if they were able to. There's no doubt that the corporation of NASCAR wants there to be an international component to the schedule every year. So the question is, should it stay at Mexico City? Should it rotate? Should they be adding another one? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I think that's a curious question for us to think about as the week goes on. So that leaves us now to think about what is coming up next week. My personal favorite track, it's Pocono, and all 3 series are going to be there. I'll have a preview video for you guys Thursday evening with schedule and notes and things to be looking for, as well as a couple of thoughts about what are going to be on my menu for Sunday's race. They're in Pennsylvania, so I'm thinking German food. That sounds delicious. All right, guys, thanks for joining me here on Racin-n-Braisin. I'll catch you next time. Stay happy.